There is a tactic so dark, so devastatingly effective that the moment you master it, you become untouchable. It is not taught in schools or whispered in churches. It thrives in the shadows where powerful men have always operated, and tonight, I will place it in your hands. This is not motivation. This is not a feel-good philosophy. This is a truth so cold, so calculated, that it burns when you first hear it. It is the kind that changes you forever. Once you accept it, you will see that most people spend their entire lives chasing approval, chasing love, chasing validation from those who will never truly give it. They beg, they plead, they linger in rooms where they are barely tolerated, and then they wonder why they feel so powerless. You are here because you sense there is something more. You are here because, deep down, you know there is another way, a darker path, the one wolves walk while the sheep continue to graze. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He watched princes rise and fall. He studied the very architecture of power. And he discovered a fundamental principle that most men refuse to accept. The one who can walk away holds all the cards. Not the one who stays to fight for scraps. Not the one who endlessly explains himself. Not the one who begs for another chance. The one who turns, says nothing, and vanishes into the night, that is the man they remember. That is the man they fear. That is the man they ultimately chase. Tonight, I am going to show you how to become that man. I am going to rewire the way you perceive relationships, loyalty, business, and respect. By the end of this, you will understand a truth so sharp it will sever every lie you have ever been told. Listen closely. Your transformation begins now. The illusion of loyalty. Let me tell you something that will sting. Most of the people you consider loyal are merely comfortable. They are not staying because they value you, they are staying because leaving requires effort they are unwilling to exert. There is a brutal difference between loyalty and convenience, and until you grasp this, you will keep pouring your lifeblood into vessels that leak. You have been taught that loyalty means staying, that good men endure, that walking away makes you a quitter. This is the lie they feed the sheep to keep them grazing in the same field forever. Real power has never worked this way. The men who built empires understood something different. Loyalty is not proven by how long you stay. It is proven by how quickly you leave and your value is disrespected. Read that again. Let it sink into your bones. You are not a martyr. You are not here to sacrifice yourself on the altar of someone else's comfort. Every moment you remain where you are undervalued, you teach people exactly how to treat you. You become the man who accepts crumbs, and once they see you do that, they will never offer you the feast. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved, but there is a layer beneath this that most people miss. It is better to be missing than to be constantly present. It is better to be a question mark than an answer they have already filed away. When you stay too long, you become predictable. You become furniture. They stop seeing you because you are always there. But the moment you pull back, the moment you vanish without explanation, you suddenly become valuable again. Suddenly, they are forced to remember what they had. This is not manipulation. This is an alignment with the natural laws of human psychology. And you are about to use it to your advantage. The psychology of detachment. Here is where we venture into the dark waters where most men are afraid to swim. Detachment is not coldness. It is not cruelty. It is the ultimate form of self-possession. When you are detached, you cannot be controlled. When you need nothing from anyone, you hold all the power in any room. This is dark psychology at its purest. The human mind is wired to chase what it cannot have. We instinctively dismiss what is freely given and obsess over what is withdrawn. This is not a flaw in our design, it is the very source code of our operating system. And once you understand the code, you can write your own rules. Most men are enslaved by their emotions. They react. They explode. They beg. They reveal their entire hand before the game has even begun. The detached man does none of this. He observes. He calculates. He moves with cold precision. His silence speaks with more volume than any words ever could. Think about the people who have impacted you the most. It wasn't the ones who gave you everything. It was the ones who pulled away, the ones who left you wondering, the ones who made you feel like you had to earn their presence. That is not an accident. That is power in its rawest form. Emotional detachment does not mean you feel nothing. It means you control what you reveal. It means your reactions are chosen, not triggered. It means no one can push your buttons because you have removed them entirely. This is the armor Machiavelli never wrote about directly, but every strategy he taught required it. You cannot play the long game if your emotions hijack you in the short term. You cannot outmaneuver your opponents if they can read your every thought on your face. Detachment is not the absence of feeling. It is the mastery of it. And mastery is what separates kings from peasants. Machiavelli's hidden lesson. Niccolò Machiavelli watched powerful men destroy themselves, not through weakness, but through overpresence. They stayed too long. They talked too much. They revealed their intentions when silence would have won the war. In The Prince, he wrote about fear and love, cruelty and kindness, and the masks a ruler must wear. But buried beneath those pages is a lesson most readers miss entirely: the greatest power is knowing when to disappear. Machiavelli studied Cesare Borgia, a man who conquered through boldness but who also understood the weapon of withdrawal. When Borgia wanted loyalty, he did not beg for it, he created uncertainty. He made his allies wonder where they stood, and in that state of unknowing, they worked harder than ever to prove their worth. This is the hidden architecture of control. You do not chase, you create a vacuum. You do not demand respect, you become so valuable that disrespect carries a cost they cannot afford to pay. The weak ruler sits on his throne and waits for rebellion. The Machiavellian ruler moves like smoke, sometimes present, sometimes gone, never predictable, never fully understood. There is a reason kings throughout history kept their distance from common men. Familiarity breeds contempt. Constant availability destroys mystique. The more they see you, the less they value you. Machiavelli knew this. He watched men lose empires because they could not resist the primal need to be seen, to be heard, to be validated. Do not make their mistake. Learn to vanish at the peak of your presence. Leave rooms while they still want more. End conversations before they grow stale. Exit relationships before you become furniture. This is not game playing, this is strategic mastery, the same mastery that built dynasties and crushed enemies without a single sword being drawn. Disappearance is a weapon. Learn to wield it. The power of silence. When you leave, when you walk away, say nothing. This is the step where most men fail. They leave, but they cannot resist the intoxicating urge to explain, to justify, to deliver one final, righteous speech. And in that moment, they surrender every ounce of power they had gained. Silence is a form of psychological violence to the ego of those who wronged you. They expect a reaction. They brace for your anger. They have rehearsed their defense against your words. When you give them nothing, you leave them standing alone in a courtroom with no trial, no verdict, no closure. The human mind cannot tolerate open loops. We are wired to seek resolution. When you deny someone that resolution, you take up permanent residence in their thoughts. They will replay every moment. They will analyze every interaction. They will obsess over what you are thinking, what you are planning, what you know that they do not. Your silence becomes louder than any scream. It echoes in the empty spaces where your words should have been. It haunts them in the quiet hours of the night. And the most devastating part is that they cannot fight it. There is no argument to counter, no statement to dissect, just an empty space where you used to be. Most men talk because they are afraid of being misunderstood. The powerful man does not care if he is misunderstood. He knows that mystery is more valuable than clarity. He knows that explanations are for the weak. When you leave without a word, you send a message that cuts deeper than any insult. You are saying, you are not worth the effort of a response. You are saying, your actions require no acknowledgement. You are saying, I have already moved beyond you. And that is a wound that never fully heals. Why they chase what walks away. There is a law written into the fabric of human nature: we do not value what we have, we obsess over what we have lost. This is not a flaw to be corrected, it is a lever to be pulled. The moment you walk away, you trigger something primal in the human psyche: scarcity, the fear of loss, the desperate need to reclaim what is slipping through their fingers. You become rare, and rare things are never ignored. Think about how markets work. Diamonds are not valuable merely because they are beautiful, they are valuable because their supply is controlled, limited, and kept just out of reach. The same psychology applies to you. When you are always available, always present, always ready to give more, you become common. And common things are treated as disposable. But the moment you pull back, the entire equation changes. Suddenly, they are forced to calculate the cost of losing you. This is not about playing games, this is about understanding the fundamental machinery of human desire. People do not chase what stands still. They chase what moves away. They want what they cannot easily have. They obsess over the one who is not obsessed with them. You have seen this play out your entire life. The person who cared less held the power. The one who could walk away controlled the relationship. The one who needed nothing was the one everyone needed. This is dark psychology in its purest application. When you remove yourself, you create a void, and nature abhors a void. They will try to fill it. They will reach out. They will suddenly remember your value. They will offer what they should have offered when you were still there. But here is where most men fail again: they come back too soon. They accept the first hollow apology. They return before the lesson has been truly learned. Do not make this mistake. Let them sit in the absence. Let them feel the full, crushing weight of your disappearance. Let the void grow until they understand that losing you is a price they can never afford to pay again. The man who walks away and stays gone becomes a legend. He becomes the story they tell themselves for years. He becomes the wound that never closes, the question that is never answered. They will chase you. That is guaranteed. The only question is whether you will be strong enough to keep walking. Burning the bridge with grace. There is an art to destruction. Any fool can burn a bridge in a fit of rage. He can scream, curse, set fire to everything, and walk away with smoke in his lungs and fury in his heart. But that is not power, that is chaos. The Machiavellian man burns bridges differently. He does it with elegance, with precision, with a coldness that leaves no fingerprints. When he is done, they are not even sure what happened. They only know that the path back to him no longer exists. This is the difference between an emotional reaction and a strategic execution. When you leave in anger, you give them a story to tell. You become the villain, the one who lost control. They will use your reaction to justify their own behavior. They will paint you as unstable and sleep peacefully, convinced they pushed you to your breaking point. But when you leave with grace, you rob them of that narrative. You give them nothing to hold on to, no outburst to reference, no harsh words to repeat. Just a calm, deliberate exit that leaves them questioning everything, especially themselves. This is how you burn a bridge and still walk away looking like a king. You do not announce your departure. You simply become less available, less responsive, less invested. You let the connection wither on its own while you build your next chapter in silence. By the time they realize you are truly gone, you are already miles ahead. There is immense power in controlling the ending of any chapter in your life. Most people let circumstances dictate their exits. They stay until they are pushed out. They wait until the pain becomes unbearable. They give others the power to decide when it is over. Not you. You choose when the story ends. You write the final sentence and you close the book with your own hands. When you burn a bridge with grace, you also preserve something invaluable, your reputation. The world is smaller than you think. People talk. Industries overlap. The enemy of today might be the gatekeeper of tomorrow. This does not mean you tolerate disrespect, it means you handle your exits with surgical precision. You leave them with nothing to use against you, no screenshots of rage, no witnesses to your breakdown, just a quiet disappearance that makes them wonder if they ever really knew you at all. And here is the final layer of this dark art: when you burn a bridge gracefully, you leave a hidden door open that only you can see. They believe the path is destroyed, but you know the truth. You can rebuild anything you choose to rebuild, on your terms, in your time, if you ever decide they are worthy again. That is power. Not the loud, destructive kind, but the silent, architectural kind. The kind that builds empires while others are still playing with matches. Becoming untouchable. There is a level of existence most men will never reach, a state where insults do not land, where betrayal does not break you, and where loss does not destroy you. This is what it means to be untouchable. And this is exactly where you are headed. Being untouchable is not about building walls so high that nothing gets in. It is about building a self so solid that nothing can shake it. Walls can be climbed and broken. But a fortress built within the soul is indestructible. Most men are controlled by external forces. They rise when praised and crumble when criticized. Their identity is a puppet on strings held by other people. The untouchable man cuts those strings, one by one. He sources his worth from within. He validates himself. He does not need applause to know he performed well or agreement to know he is right. This is psychological sovereignty, the complete ownership of your inner world. When you reach this state, manipulation becomes impossible. They cannot bribe you with praise you do not need. They cannot threaten you with abandonment you do not fear. They cannot control you with emotions you have already mastered. Think about what makes you vulnerable right now. Is it the need to be liked? The fear of being alone? The addiction to approval from people who do not matter? Each of these is a chain, and chains are meant to be broken. The Machiavellian man audits his weaknesses relentlessly. He asks himself hard questions. What do I need from others that I should be giving myself? What fears are driving my decisions? What attachments are keeping me in rooms I should have left long ago? He answers honestly. And then he gets to work. Becoming untouchable requires a brutal kind of self-honesty. You must see yourself as you truly are, not as you wish to be. Only from that raw, unfiltered truth can you begin to rebuild. You must learn to sit in discomfort without running, to face rejection without crumbling, to experience loss without losing your center. Each time you survive what you thought would destroy you, you add another layer of armor, real armor, the kind that cannot be seen but can always be felt. The untouchable man walks differently. He speaks differently. He carries a quiet certainty that unnerves those who rely on manipulation. They sense their usual tactics will not work on him. They feel the unbreachable walls of his frame. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. This is a man who has done the inner work and emerged unshakable. People will test you. They always do. They will probe for weakness and search for cracks. When they find none, they will either respect you or avoid you. Both outcomes serve you perfectly. This is the path you are now walking. With every lesson, you become harder to manipulate. With every strategic exit, you become harder to replace. With every silence, you become harder to forget. The transformation. Untouchable is not a destination, it is a daily practice. And you have already begun. You are not the same person who started this. Something has shifted, something has cracked open inside you. The old version of you is dying, and that is exactly what needs to happen. Transformation is not comfortable or gentle. It is a violent shedding of everything you thought you were supposed to be. It is the death of the man who begged for acceptance, the burial of the man who stayed too long, the funeral for the man who needed permission to be powerful. That man served his purpose. He got you here. But he cannot take you where you are going. The version of you that emerges from this fire is colder. Not cruel, cold. There is a critical difference. Cruelty seeks to inflict harm, coldness simply refuses to be harmed. The transformed man does not wish pain on others, he simply refuses to absorb their dysfunction anymore. He does not seek revenge, he seeks elevation. He does not hate his enemies, he simply removes them from his world without ceremony. This is the Machiavellian rebirth. You become a man who operates from strategy, not from emotion. A man who sees the entire chessboard while others only see the pieces. A man who moves with patience because he knows the game is long, and the greatest rewards go to those who can wait. You will notice changes in how people treat you. They will sense that something is different. Your words will carry more weight because you use fewer of them. Your presence will command more attention because you no longer beg for it. Your absence will create a more profound impact because they will know it is intentional. The old you would have explained yourself. The new you will let them wonder. The old you would have chased. The new you will let them come to you. The old you feared being alone. The new you knows that solitude is where power is forged. This transformation is not just psychological, it is physical. You will stand taller. You will breathe deeper. You will move with a deliberate slowness because you are no longer anxious for anyone's approval. Rushed movements belong to desperate men. You are no longer desperate. You will lose people in this process. That is guaranteed. Some will not recognize the man you are becoming. Some will resent him. Some will try to pull you back to the old version because that version was easier to control. Let them go. Anyone who cannot handle your evolution does not deserve a seat in your future. The transformed man travels light. He carries no dead weight. He builds his circle with precision, choosing only those who add value and removing those who drain it, without mercy. This is your rebirth. Not into arrogance, but into sovereignty. Not into cruelty, but into clarity. Not into isolation, but into intentional connection. You are becoming the man that others will study, the man they will wonder about, the man they will tell stories about long after he has left the room. The caterpillar does not negotiate with the cocoon. It surrenders to the process and emerges with wings. Your wings are growing. Soon, you will fly in ways the old you could never have imagined. The final command. You have made it to the end. But this is not an end. This is a doorway, a threshold you are about to cross. And once you step through, there is no going back. The knowledge you now possess is not ordinary. It is the kind of understanding that separates the powerful from the powerless, the hunters from the hunted, the remembered from the forgotten. You now know the dark trick. You understand that walking away is not weakness, it is the ultimate demonstration of strength. It is the move that resets every dynamic in your favor. It is the weapon that requires no violence yet cuts deeper than any blade. Most men will live their entire lives never grasping this. They will stay in jobs that drain their soul. They will remain in relationships that diminish their spirit. They will tolerate friendships that disrespect their boundaries. And they will wonder why they feel so profoundly powerless. But not you. You have been given the blueprint. You have seen behind the curtain. You understand the hidden psychology that governs human behavior. You know how to create value through absence, command respect through silence, and become untouchable by mastering your own emotional world. The question now is brutally simple: what will you do with this knowledge? Will you let it sit idle in your mind, another interesting idea that fades with time? Or will you apply it? Will you finally walk away from the situation that has been draining you? Will you stop explaining yourself to people who are unworthy of an explanation? Will you at last become the man who needs nothing and therefore controls everything? This is your moment of decision. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now. The universe rewards action, it ignores intention. You can intend to change for the rest of your life and die exactly where you started. Or you can move, today, this hour, this minute. Let me tell you what happens to the man who applies these lessons. He becomes magnetic, not because he chases, but because he repels what does not serve him. He attracts quality because he refuses to tolerate mediocrity. He builds an empire because he no longer wastes his energy on things that do not compound. His relationships improve because he only keeps people who rise to meet his standard. His career accelerates because he is no longer afraid to leave any table where he is not valued. His inner peace deepens, solidifying into a profound tranquility now that the architects of chaos have been permanently removed from his world. This isn't some fantasy or wishful thinking. It is the direct, tangible result of mastering the art of walking away. The man who possesses the courage to leave can never be trapped. And the man who can never be trapped is the only man who is truly free. Freedom is never simply given, it is seized. It is seized by men bold enough to claim it, strong enough to walk away from anything and anyone who threatens it, and wise enough to understand that sometimes, your absence is the most potent form of presence you can have. You have now become one of these men. So act like it. Move like it. Make decisions like it. From this moment on, let every choice you make pass through a single, clarifying filter, a simple question. Does this amplify my power, or does it diminish it? If it diminishes it, you walk away. No hesitation. No explanation. No looking back. Now, I have a direct command for you. If this message has ignited a fire within you, I want you to claim it by leaving a comment below. Type these 4 words. I walk away stronger. This is your public declaration. Your line in the sand. It is your unwavering commitment to the man you are becoming. When you type those words, you're doing more than just leaving a comment. You are programming your subconscious mind. You are serving notice to the universe that the man who stays where he is not valued is gone. In his place stands the man who walks away stronger, every single time. And if this message has served you, do one more thing, hit the like button. It costs you nothing, but it signals the algorithm to share this with other men who need to hear it. Men who feel stuck, men who are settling for less, men who have forgotten their own power. Your single click could be the catalyst that changes another man's life. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We are building a movement here, a brotherhood of men who refuse to be ordinary, who refuse to be controlled, and who refuse to live small lives dictated by the expectations of others. Turn on notifications so you never miss a transmission. The game is long, and we are just getting started. I'll see you in the next one. Now go. Walk away from whatever no longer serves you, and never look back.